Hi everyone, welcome to Skill Ninja and welcome to Confab with Mehak. I hope all of you have been doing great. You have been doing well this week. You have been doing something productive, good for yourself, good for your health. Last time we talked about physical health. We had this dietitian, this very young and vibrant dietitian with us, Miss Isha Rizvi, who told you about physical health. This time, continuing the topic of mental health, we will discuss with Dr. Shruti Modi, who is a clinical psychologist, that how to keep yourself healthy in these challenging times where mental health is a matter of concern for so many. It is so important these days that you keep yourself mentally fit. So Dr. Shruti Modi is here, and without wasting any more time, I will just call upon and join us and tell her what is the importance of mental health and how do homemakers and working women keep up with the pace, this very, you know, very fast rat race where you must keep your mental health intact. Hello, Dr. Shruti Modi, how are you?
Hi, Mehak. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm great.
We are honored, Dr. Shruti, that you agreed to join us today and enlighten so many women today. So, over to you, Dr. Shruti. Uh, why don't you start with what exactly is mental health? With this new thing trending in mental health, which was not a topic of discussion earlier, but now it's been so important these days. Everybody is, so concerned about mental health. Most people don't know. Most people who know are chasing the fact that, how to keep it up. So let's start with what exactly is mental health.
Sure. A lot of people, when they talk about health, mainly talk of physical health, right? But mental health is also equally important, where there are some synonyms that we use like well-being, right? So it means that you're not only healthy. It means that it's not only you don't have any symptoms per se, but you're also able to adjust with your day-to-day demands of life. You're able to grow as a person also, right? So being mentally healthy is being in control of your thoughts, your emotions, and your behavior, and being able to productively do something for the society as well.
Oh, great. So being in control with your emotions and having a stable emotional health. So as Dr. Shruti, you would agree that women these days are facing too many challenges because earlier it was simple for them because they stayed in the houses indoors. There was nothing else they had to do. But with this constant multitasking that the women have found themselves in the middle of so much crisis where they are unable to keep up with so much all of it together. So with women growing each day and taking up more tasks in hands, why do you think is important to pay attention towards the mental health?
Okay. So I think it is both a boon and a curse where women these days are multitasking. A boon because now it's not only the family. You also have other environment. You get support from other, probably your colleagues. If at all you're a person like me who has taken up her passion as a profession, I think that ways it helps. But having said that, of course, being a working person or even being a homemaker these days comes with multiple responsibilities. Okay, so let me just talk about, let's say, being a mother. So apart from, struggling with your day-to-day hassles of cooking and everything, you also have kids. And raising kids these days is not at all easy. They have their own competitions going on. They have multitasking, and with their busy schedules, a mother or a homemaker is also, adjusting with so many multiple schedules. But having said that, some easy things that we should be doing for ourselves is trying to sneak out a bit of me time. And again, the concept of me time could be different for different people. So for some, it could be reading a nice book. For some, it could be just, plugging in your headphones and listening to your favorite songs, any type of songs. For others, it could be, just having a nice cup of tea or coffee or just, taking a walk around. So me time is all about really understanding what is it that gives me pleasure. Self-care is extremely important here. A lot of times, especially as women, we are thinking about others, about your spouse, about your in-laws, about kids, and how can we make sure that they are living a good life.
Right.
But a lot of time, we sort of forget that we are also an entity, right? And we forget to take care of ourselves. And then in the end, there's a lot of frustration because there's no one else who asked, how was your day? We are always asking others, how was your day? But when, we somehow have an expectation, कि अच्छा कोई मुझे पूछ ले, how was my day? But how about asking yourselves, how's my day going? If at all it is not going great, okay, what can I do to make it better? So sneaking out small moments of pleasure that are guilt free. So us women are also very good at taking guilt. I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad wife. Um yeah, and a lot of times, especially if you're a homemaker, it is a thankless job you
Yes.
know. Uh, so I've met a lot of women who sort of struggle because they're like, okay, if you're working, you're at least taking a salary back home. But when we are doing so much throughout the day, there's no recognition sometimes. So yes, it can be difficult, but you can pause and ask yourself, am I giving myself that recognition? You know, am I giving myself the me time that I deserve? So I think you need to start respecting yourself so that others also start valuing you better. And
Oh, that's so
respecting yourself does not mean that you're aggressively fighting. Sometimes you just have to be assertive in telling, okay, I just need a break. Maybe a 10-minute walk or something of that sort.
you're so right. So, as you heard, Dr. Modi said that me time is very important. So, being a bit personal, Miss Modi, what do you think is your me time? How do you spend your me time? What refreshes you up and charges you for the day and all the duties to shoot?
So, Mike, as you might have been aware, my schedule is generally very busy. I do have an almost 4-year-old now who's like waiting for me to get free. But what I do is, once everything is done, once she goes to sleep, I just open my book. And because that is something that gives me pleasure, right? So, there is a rule that I've made for myself, I don't know, since my college days, that I don't fall asleep without reading at least 15 to 20 pages. And that doesn't come as a compulsion, but that is a rule because that is like a way of telling myself whatever, happens. This is something that gives you pleasure, so you need to do it.
Right.
Sometimes I just, go out and take a walk and the family knows that okay, this is something that is important to her. So yes, for me, my me time could be just plugging in my earphones and going for a brisk walk if I can sneak that out, or definitely reading.
Oh, that's so nice. So, ladies, you heard that you must do something for yourself on everyday basis, and well, be it listening to music, be it enjoying your chai, be it just having just sitting, watching TV, doing nothing. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily something that you can document, but just sitting there, idling, sitting in your balcony, appreciating your plants. So just do anything. So that's so wonderful, Ms. Modi. I would also like to know that for the women, as you mentioned earlier, that they live in guilt, which is very, I would say, prevalent. And you're so right about it that most women live in guilt because sometimes, there is always going to be something you are going to fall short of. You just can't be everywhere and all over the place. So this notion for women that you have to do everything, you must be there for everyone, and you must fulfill everybody's needs. That is so compulsive, and we've been conditioned in a way that we believe that this is all our job. How to
Yeah.
set yourself free of this guilt, and how to loosen this burden, shake it off, that everything is not your duty.
Yeah. So first of all, I think there is a lot to do with upbringing. Somehow in India, even today, perfectionism is valued so much, and I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because how much ever you try to be perfect, something or the else is not going to go the way you planned. And ultimately, you need to tell yourself, okay, I'm a human, you know. And sometimes it's okay if I am not perfect or my child is not perfect in something. That is one thing. Another thing here, I would talk about FOMO, fear of missing out. And I think now it is very, very high, especially, women are also one of the highest social media users. And yeah, and then we are always thinking about, okay, this person is having such a nice life. Now understand that people are not going to be posting their ugly moments from their day. You know, a lot of people do keep posting things to get validation, external validation. Probably they're just having a bad day and they'll purposely, post something nice just to get love, online from social media. So you don't have to believe everything that's going on social media blindly, imagining अच्छा बाकी सबकी life इतनी अच्छी चल रही है मेरी life इतनी खराब चल रही है. No, people do not go ahead and post about their bad days, right? So everyone has their bad days. You need to remind yourself you're a human. It's okay to have a bad day, but accept it. I think जहाँ acceptance है वहाँ पे it is easier. It becomes very difficult when you do not accept that I'm not perfect. जहाँ acceptance है, there is some scope of working on it. Probably you talk to your friends, your family about, how I am not feeling okay. But a lot of women do put on a mask and go on with their day, showing that they are very happy. Internally they are not happy. And sometimes I get pride about it, Ki, okay, I was not having a bad day, but I'm smiling. I mean, that's okay, do that. But there should be at least an outlet, at least a person. It could be a spouse, it could be a friend. जहाँ पे, you can just confide and accept that, okay, I'm having a bad day. And it's okay, you know. Guilt is one of the basic emotions, which means that most people are going to feel guilty at some point. So for some it could be guilt about eating something, high on calories. For some it could be not doing a workout. For some it could be, having a lot of me time and not giving time to others who needed it. But then it all comes down to priorities, you know. And women especially homemakers, right? I think somehow their priorities are not clear in their mind because of their upbringing. It is always put into their minds that, okay, family is important. Of course, it is important, but at some point, you need to take a break and tell yourself, I am also important. And you don't have to fight for it. It's like just if I am giving myself time, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to give others time. And that has to be clear in your head first so that others can later on understand and value it, right? So you need to reduce that guilt within yourself. And make here I would come and touch on another important thing. There are three things that always go interconnected: the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we behave. Okay, your thoughts, emotions, and behavior are interconnected. So let's take an example of guilt. Okay, guilt is an emotion, but an emotion cannot exist without a thought. So what happens is usually the focus goes on the emotion. I am not feeling good. Yeah, I am feeling guilty. And we immediately run towards making the emotion part better. But what happens is we are not sorting the thought out, which means we are looking at a temporary solution to the problem. Okay. For example, if the feeling is I'm guilty, the thought could be that, okay, I shouldn't be, spending so much time on my priorities. I should be, for example, spending more time with my kid or whatever, right? So you need to ask yourself why. Thoughts में problem तब आते हैं when there are a lot of irrational shoulds. So you need to ask yourself, ऐसा should क्यों है? And it's okay. You need to be honest with yourself first so that you expect people around to sort of understand you. अगर हम खुद को नहीं समझ पाए, how do you expect others to understand you? So, of course, communication with others is important, but sometimes, self-talk or communicating with your inner self is even more important.
You're right. So, as you see, Dr. Shruti said that it is very important that you free yourself of the guilt and do not worry about everything. Like this should be extracted from your life. There is no should. I mean, you can decide pretty whatever you like. There doesn't have to be a compulsion about anything and everything because we make our own rules. Also, Dr. Shruti, would you agree that Indian women do not, I would say, assume enough power even with a coming age? They must be 40, 50, but they still are bound with a lot of things. The in-laws, whatever they say, they have to do that. And that is a lot of pressure on homemakers. As Skill Ninja educates homemakers, we come across a lot of women who are in their 40s, in their 50s, living with their in laws. That's fine, taking care of your husband's parents is fine. It's a good thing you're doing. But then they dictating their lives and, everything they want, their rules, living by their rules is something that Indian women are most accustomed to. So, what would you suggest them? I mean, that's a kind of very, there's an unrest among the women. They cannot tell anybody, they can't escape that situation, they don't know how to do it, and each day they are, I think, collecting more baggage there. And I mean, what would you say about that? How to deal with
Okay.
this situation?
So I agree that this has been the case, but thankfully, society is now evolving. Now there are more and more people who are okay with having conversation. And having in-laws who dictate you, of course, it can be very traumatic sometimes, but probably you need to take a step back and ask yourself, how did I come into this situation? Was I not assertive in the first place? Number one. Number two, have I communicated that I'm not okay with this?
Right.
Right. I think most people today, like the mother-in-law is also a woman in the end. Probably she is also, struggled and, the good thing is that most people are okay with change. So the way you communicate it has to be in a way which is not blaming someone. You're not aggressive about it, but at the same time, you're clearly communicating that I am not okay with this. So the problem is a lot of times we do communicate, but the way we communicate is in a manner where the other person feels that this person is blaming me. Now, it is a human tendency. Now, if someone blames me, instead of sitting and having a conversation, I would defend myself. That's a human tendency,
Right.
right? And that
You
is
go into
why
a
a lot
defensive
of
mode and
discussions end
then
up as arguments.
yes, you're
Yes.
right.
So, first thing, before you hold that conversation, you need to ask yourself, what is my intention? What am I trying to communicate? Am I trying to communicate you are wrong? Would that, help me land up anywhere positive? Or am I trying to communicate that, see, you're important to me, I value our relationship, but I am not okay. Something is off these days, can we fix it? And you offer solutions that, okay, I would prefer if we can, if you start with this assumption that, oh, I am the victim here, you're not going to land very positive. So I think having a conversation, but in a way where the other person doesn't feel threatened by it,
Yeah.
is important. And having a good family time where everyone is like talking and sometimes, we sometimes think it's a power struggle, but then you need to ask yourself, in what area do I want power exactly? Is it to do with finances? Is it to do with, okay, who cooks what in the house? As menu kon decide kar raha hai? Is it that? I'm sure there are a lot of women जो रोज परेशान होती है खाना क्या बनाए अगर कोई डिसाइड करके बता दे it becomes easy, right? So
Right. You're right.
in the end it comes down to acha, if you're feeling powerless in what particular domain, and then I think you need to first understand, reflect about it, have conversations about it. Okay. If it is any financial dependence that is making you insecure, then probably you can talk to your spouse about it. We need to understand, is it finances? Is it parenting? What is it that is making me, feeling powerless? And then you
Right.
can work.
Right. So that's so true. We women have a way of finding something at least that we, keep thinking about, pondering about. You're so right. Also, you talked about FOMO, which is so right. And I think I would, I personally feel that social media is so much responsible for all the, you know, chaos about mental health. Because
Yeah.
definitely you're so right. If I was feeling very low, I wouldn't take a picture and post. Or if I was going through something terrible, I have a very bad hair day, I have a bad skin day, which all of us have, I wouldn't take
Yeah.
a picture and post. You see?
Yeah.
So we have to understand that social media is the bestest presentation of you when you're feeling very high. You have the best moments happening, you have the best outfit, best holiday, best moment you have. So it's that point of time that when you choose to post, so please understand that watching that in your low moments can only trigger this FOMO. So
Yeah.
I would say, I don't know how you would say, but I think when you're feeling low, you should just completely shut down your phone. You should not see it. I think it will only aggravate your situation, how you're feeling, rather than, we feel कि बहुत अजीब सा लग रहा है. You take your phone, keep scrolling through social media just to, maybe in this whim that you're going to refresh yourself. But that doesn't happen. I think on the contrary, the feeling is that, oh my God, इसके साथ ऐसा हो गया, oh, she's doing so well. So on the contrary, I think it hits you all the more that you are, going downside and everybody else is enjoying having fun in their lives. So what do you think, if you're feeling that way in that low situation, what should one do?
Okay, so let's say you're someone who cannot just be without the phone. I mean, being without the phone is the best possible scenario, but आजकल नहीं होता है, right? So instead of scrolling through other people's feeds, what you can do is go back and see your own memories, so that you realize that there have been days where I have been, at a much better place than I am right now, you know. So in fact, it is nice to have a journal, even if it's not like a Facebook or Insta journal. It is nice to have, like, we have Google Photos now, it reminds you of certain memories and moments. And those are your moments. So that okay, there have been days, and it would remind you of bad days too. So there have been days which were not good, but then there have been days which were good. So that is one thing. Another thing that I would highly suggest is making real connections rather than having dependence on how many friends do I have and how many followers do I have. So it's always nice to have 7, 8 good friends rather than having 7,000 online, but then not having anyone when you're feeling low.
Sure.
So count on your real connections as much as possible and try to practice gratitude, you know be thankful of things that you have. So the problem is we always compare ourselves with people who are above us. And that is a recipe for sadness, yeah. So why can we not compare ourselves with people whom we know are less privileged than what we are? Probably that, on bad days we can do that so that we know that we are better off than probably so many others.
You're right. So this is a good idea, ladies, that whenever you are feeling low, whenever you're feeling not very up and about, please go back and scroll through your own memories rather than seeing other people's feeds and stories. Also, it is so important to, definitely when you scroll through your own memories, you will be reminded of some very good times you had, some memories that they were wonderful, they will bring back nostalgia, good one, and you will maybe feel better rather than scrolling through other people's stories. That's one very good thing. Also, what you just said, that it's very important that are we practice gratitude. So definitely journaling yourself and making a list of what all you have. Also, I think reflecting back on your past sometimes makes you wonder that there were certain things you wanted at that point of time and now you have them. So that
Yeah.
positive reflecting is also very important, because maybe 2 years back there was something you badly wanted and now you have it and you still do not feel so happy. So please reflect and introspect that what exactly is that makes you happy. A lot of things we just ignore, and in the hindsight we get to know that, oh, this is important. This is important, I did not pay enough attention to it. So, thank you so much, Dr. Shruti, for all of this. And winding up this session, what would you uh, say as a message to all the women, the 90,000 women that we have associated with us, 95,000, that what message do you want to give to them about mental health? Also to the working women and to the homemakers, how to keep themselves healthy and do enough for themselves.
Okay. So first of all, we all need to understand that mental health issues are extremely common. If I just quickly give you the statistics, uh, 1 year back, around 15% of population has suffered some sort of a mental health issue in 1 year, in the past 1 year. Especially after COVID, things were bad. There are some biological changes that have made us more prone towards certain mental illnesses. We all have lost a lot of people. Some people have lost their jobs, relocation, things like that. Okay, but there are some simple tips that I'm going to give you all. So, first of all, if possible, maintain a journal. Now, this journal could be a proper diary or it could be an online thing where you're just noting down the 5 good moments that I have, in a day. So, one is focusing on the positive aspects, and another journal could be if you had a bad day or a particular bad moment, you write about it. And you're not only writing about the emotion, you're also talking about what was I thinking. Okay, so thought journaling is one thing that you can definitely do. Another is exercise. Now, exercise does not have to be gymming. Of course, if you love gymming, go ahead, great. But it could be something as simple as a dance, a walk, jogging, swimming, cycling, yoga, anything of that sort. And there is a reason as to why I say exercise is important. Of course, it keeps you physically fit, but apart from that, whenever you exercise, there are chemicals called endorphins that are released in your body. Now, these chemicals have a very simple role of making you feel good. And that is what is missing throughout our day sometimes. So, exercise, I cannot even tell you how important it is, right? So, there could be days when you think exercise is not possible. Just go for a 15-minute walk. That's fine. I'm sure you would feel fresh. And if at all you're someone who does not have a lot of time, try to keep this walk outdoors, rather than just walking indoors or exercising indoors. So exercise preferably outdoors is the second tip that I would give you. Third is keep yourself hydrated. Okay, you need to be drinking a lot of water. And this may sound strange as to why is a psychologist telling me to drink water, but our brain, the neurons in our brain, they work on, oxygen, which comes through water, right? So, water is extremely important, 3 to 4 liters of water per day. You would realize you wouldn't be eating a lot of junk if you are drinking water. You would be feeling fresh. So, a lot of people, when they are thirsty, they end up being very cranky.
Yeah.
So, you would want to drink water. So, that is like a tip that you could easily be doing. And apart from that, I would say sleep. 6 to 8 hours of good quality sleep is extremely important. Now, when I say good quality, it means you should be keeping your gadgets away, have a disturbance free sleep with no notifications, if at all, put your phone on silent. And there are people who ask me that I have difficulty falling asleep, so what can I do? So simple tips for that could be probably taking a shower before you go to sleep, just like we make babies sleep right after a nice massage and shower, they do get a good quality sleep. So you can try doing that. You can have milk before going to bed. That would also make things better. So yes, thought journaling, staying yourself, staying hydrated, exercise, and good sleep. These are something that anybody would do. You know, anyone can do. And this journaling include positives and negatives. So not only negatives, which a lot of people do, but also look for at least 3 to 4 things that you're grateful for throughout the day. So that makes you feel good.
Oh, that's so important. Thank you so much for this wonderful and precious advice. That whenever you're journaling, yeah, you're right. Most people try to write down the unhappy things and the sad things that happen throughout the day. But yes, you must make sure that you are extracting something good that happened during the day, because it cannot be like that. You know, life is a mix of both. There must be something pretty okay that happened, and something that did not go according to your wish. So please try journaling the positive things as well. And thank you so much, Dr. Shruti, for all this for these wonderful advices and sparing time for us and coming out here to address so many women and helping them, because probably you understand that how important this issue is, and the women especially need to buckle up, because we are the ones, as they say very commonly, if the mother's mood is bad, the whole house's mood is bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so the women out there, please understand that you must be cheerful and happy for the whole house to be cheerful and happy, because that tense environment, it reflects upon your kids and your spouse and everybody. So
And don't
please,
be guilty about it.
I'm sorry, don't.
And don't be guilty about it.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Guilt is one thing you need to ditch immediately. Do not be guilty about anything. If you're feeling bad, seek it out. If you're feeling, uneasy, just talk it out. Just tell them. Sometimes, don't you think it's just a matter of talking? Because the other person hardly knows how you're feeling. So until they know, how will they help you, support you? Maybe your spouse is ready to help you, support you, but you're not communicating. You're not letting them know that this is something that you're going through, and this is something you do not like, do not approve of, or this is something that turns you off completely. So I think this lack of communicating creates major problems. So please communicate, please tell the other person, let them know how you feel, let them know what you think about it, so that it becomes easy for you and for them too. Because together you can solve a problem, and alone you can only sulk and simmer. So thank you so much, Shruti, and thank you for coming
Thank
out
you.
here. And it was
Thank
such a
you.
pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
All right. Bye bye, everyone. Bye, audience. Thank you.